All right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, little couple of minutes late. A few of us had to powder our nose, I guess. So thank you for your patience. Aloha mai kako. Good morning. It is now 10:03 a.m. and I'm calling to order the May 13th, 2026 Land Use Commission meeting. This is a hybrid meeting being held in person at the Hilton Garden Inn, Kauai, Wailua Bay, in the Kuhio Ballroom at 3-5920 Kuhio Highway in Kapa'a, Hawaii 96746, and with virtual participation via Zoom. This meeting is open to the public, and please be advised that this meeting is also being recorded via Zoom. The recording will be posted on YouTube and used for court reporting purposes. Your continued participation is your implied consent to be part of the public record of this event. If you do not wish to be part of the public record, you should exit this meeting now. For those attending via Zoom, please note that the question and answer feature will only be used for signing up for public testimony, and all other communications through Zoom will not be monitored nor made part of the meeting record. Written communications can be emailed to the Land Use Commission office at dbedt.luc.web@hawaii.gov. For all meeting participants, please speak slowly, clearly, and directly into your microphone. And before speaking, please state your name to identify yourself for the record. I will also share with all participants that we will take breaks every 60 minutes or so. For commissioners participating remotely, I'll ask you to state your location and whether anyone over the age of 18 is present with you. Aloha, my name is Brian Lee, and I am serving as the LUC chair today. There are 8 seated commissioners, and joining me today is Commissioner Mel Kahele from Oahu, Commissioner Ken Hayashida from Oahu, Commissioner Bruce Uu from Maui, Commissioner Miles Miyasato from the Big Island via Zoom. And Commissioner Miyasato, can you confirm you're by yourself?
Yes, I'm at home and I am by myself.
Thank you, Commissioner Miyasato. And also here today in person is Vice Chair Nancy Carr-Smith from the Big Island. Also in attendance today is the Land Use Commission Executive Officer, Mr. Daniel Orodenker, the LUC Chief Planner, Mr. Scott Derrickson, the LUC Staff Planner, Ms. Martina Segura, the LUC Chief Clerk, Ms. Ariana Kwan, and via Zoom is the LUC Attorney General, Miranda Steed. All right. Again, court reporting transcriptions are being done from this Zoom recording. We're going to go to agenda item number 2. The next order of business is to consider the petitioner's application for a special permit to develop and operate a utility-scale solar energy facility. This project will produce approximately 43 megawatts alternating current / 52 megawatts direct current of electrical power, and includes a photovoltaic solar system with a battery energy storage system, substations, and related infrastructure to generate and supply renewable energy to the Kauai Island Utility Cooperative. All right, we're going to ask the parties now to please identify themselves for the record. Petitioner, will you please identify yourself for the record?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Commission, Curtis Tabata and Max Graham for the petitioner, Kaawanui Solar LLC. Also with us to my immediate right is Megan Kane, the Senior Development Manager of AES Hawaii, and Amy Bowen, Associate Developer, AES Hawaii.
Thank you, Mr. Tabata. County of Kauai, Planning Department.
Sorry about that. Good morning, Deputy County Attorney Laura Barzilai, along with Deputy Planning Director Jody Sayagusa and our planner Kenny Estes.
Okay, State Office of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Leo Asuncion, Planning Program Administrator with the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. And with me is Aaron Setogawa, our Senior Planner in the Land Use Division.
Thank you, Mr. Asuncion. Mr. Tabata, have you reviewed Hawaii Administrative Rules, Section 15-15-45-1 regarding the reimbursement of hearing expenses?
Yes, Chair, I have, and we will comply.
Okay, thank you. Now, in accordance with Hawaii Revised Statute Section 84-14, commissioners are not allowed to take any official action affecting a business in which they or a member of their family has a financial interest. They must therefore recuse themselves from this matter if there's any benefit, monetary or otherwise, to themselves or members of their family. Also, in accordance with legal ethical standards, commissioners should disclose any relationship, business, social or otherwise, that they may have with the petitioner or its representatives or any of the other parties to this proceeding that may give rise to an allegation of bias or impropriety. Do any of the commissioners have any conflicts of interest or disclosures to make? Okay, seeing none, let me briefly now explain the procedure for today. First, I will recognize the written public testimony that has been submitted on this matter. Second, I will call for members of the public who wish to provide oral testimony. Third, the staff planner will give a briefing on the staff report that has been posted for this docket. Fourth, the petitioner will then be called upon to make their presentation. Fifth, the chair will then call on the county planning department and then the state Office of Planning and Sustainable Development for their presentation and/or comments. Six, the commissioners will have opportunities to ask questions of the parties at the conclusion of each of their presentations. Seventh, the parties will be given an opportunity for closing arguments. Eighth, I will then reopen the floor to the public for any new and additional oral testimony on the matter. And finally, ninth, the commission will deliberate on the matter based on the testimony and evidence presented. All right, I would like to once again remind all our participants to speak slowly, clearly, and directly into the microphone. And before speaking, please state your name and identify yourself for the record. This ensures that our transcriber can produce an accurate transcript of the proceedings. Are there any questions about our procedures for today? Okay, hearing none. As stated on today's agenda, please be informed that the relevant records and documents pertaining to this matter can be accessed for review on the Land Use Commission website at luc.hawaii.gov/SP26-416. We will now recognize any written public testimony submitted on this matter. Ms. Kwan, has there been any written testimony submitted for this matter?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we received 8 written testimonies that have all been posted on the website, and we received one this morning from Shipty.
Okay, Ms. Kwan, are there any members of the public that wish to provide oral testimony on this matter?
Yes, we have one signed up today. We have a Brad Rockwell.
Please proceed to the testimony. All right, Brad, please state your name and zip code for the record.
Brad Rockwell, 96766.
Okay, Mr. Rothwell, I will swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
You will have 2 minutes for your testimony. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Brad Rockwell, and I am the Chief of Operations for Kauai Island Utility Cooperative, KIUC. KIUC is a not-for-profit electric cooperative, which is owned by the ratepayers that it serves, all of which are here on Kauai. There are no external shareholders. I've been with KIUC since 2003. On behalf of KIUC, I respectfully ask for your support today in approving the special permit for the AES Kaawanui Solar and Battery Project. This project is a critical component of Kauai's transition to clean, reliable, locally generated energy. As you're likely aware, Hawaii's renewable portfolio standard, passed in 2015 and updated in 2022, requires 100% renewable energy by 2045. More recently, Governor Green signed an executive order in 2025 that targets 100% renewable energy on neighbor islands by 2035. And KIUC's board, which is elected by the ratepayers of Kauai, set an even more aggressive target in its most recent strategic plan, which is 100% by 2033. Achieving 100% renewable electricity requires large utility scale projects that are thoughtfully sited, responsibly developed, and compatible with the surrounding land uses. Since becoming a member-owned cooperative in 2002, KIUC has transformed our island's energy portfolio, moving from less than 10% renewable energy in 2010 to approximately 50% renewable energy today. That progress has not only reduced fossil fuel use and greenhouse gas emissions, but has also stabilized and lowered electricity costs for our members. In fact, KIUC moved from having the highest electric rates in the state in the early 2000s to having the lowest rates today. Renewable projects like this are a big part of that. Over the 25-year term of the Kaawanui project, we estimate approximately $363 million in total fuel savings compared to the alternative. Those savings will flow to the ratepayers of Kauai since we are a not-for-profit electric cooperative. We recognize the Commission's responsibility to ensure projects are compatible with ag lands and surrounding communities. Gay and Robinson has long been an important partner to KIUC, as well as AES, having already developed a second project on Kauai. We appreciate this collaboration. This is not simply a solar project placed on ag land. It is designed to coexist with and support ag use. Last but not least, time is of the essence. Federal clean energy tax incentives that provide the savings for Kauai residents and businesses mentioned above are scheduled to phase down. In order to ensure that these incentives are locked in, the project must be operational by the end of 2029. While that may seem far away, building a project of this size requires a substantial amount of time, and delay with obtaining any necessary approvals risks losing those benefits and killing the project. For all of these reasons, we respectfully ask for your approval today of the special permit so that Kauai can continue moving forward toward a cleaner, more affordable, and more resilient energy future. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Rockwell. Commissioners, are there any questions for the testifier at this time? Okay, thank you very much for your testimony. Ms. Kwan, are there any other persons who wish to testify?
Seeing none in the room, Chair, and seeing none in the Q&A feature on Zoom.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kwan. We will now call on Staff Planner Ms. Segura to please summarize the staff report for us and any staff concerns.
Good morning. This is Ms. Segura for the record. The staff report was posted and made publicly available on the Land Use Commission website on May 6, 2026. The LUC received the record on this matter from the county on May 4, 2026. After staff review of the petition, staff believes that sufficient information exists in the record, and the petitioner has met the guidelines for state special permit set forth in 1515-95 and HRS 205 4.5. However, during the review of the record, staff noticed that there was no comments found from the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, OPSD, or the Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity, DAB. OPSD and DAB submitted comments to the LUC on May 12, 2026. OPSD provided 6 comments and a few recommendations to clarify the record, which they'll discuss during their presentation. It should be noted that the County of Kauai submitted a letter regarding the Archaeological Inventory Survey from the State Historical Preservation Division, SHPD, yesterday, May 12th, which has been posted to the Land Use Commission website this morning underneath the County tab. Staff offered 3 amendments to conditions included in the decision and order from the county, specifically conditions 2, 8, and 11. The recommendations can be found on page 18 through 20 of the staff report. Lastly, on page 20 of the staff report, staff offered 2 possible motions, one to approve with amendments to the conditions cited above, and the other to remand the petition if the commission finds that more information is needed to complete the record. That's.
Thank you, Ms. Segura. Commissioners, are there any questions for the staff planner? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. And now I'm going to ask the petitioner to please provide your presentation.
Curtis Tabata for the petitioner. Chair, our procedure today is to start with Megan Connie doing a PowerPoint presentation. And then following her would be Howard Green from Gay and Robinson. And after Howard is done, I will present the legal analysis for the special permit. So our first witness is Megan Connie.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Maybe a little louder, but before you begin, let me swear you in.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm, Ms. Kanye, that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
Yes,
Thank you. Please proceed.
thank you. Hi, everyone. For the record, my name is Megan Kane. I'm a senior development manager for AES Hawaii, and I will be representing the petitioner today. This is just a quick agenda of what I'm going to talk about. I'll try and breeze through it as quickly as possible. I know we've got a lot to cover today. AES Hawaii is proposing a 43 megawatt AC solar project coupled with a 172 megawatt hour battery energy storage system sited on approximately 269 acres of land. This project will join 7 other AES Hawaii projects throughout the state, either already in operations or meeting operations later this year. The storage component of this project is extremely important. It allows grid stability and dispatchability during high use times, such as when everyone is home with their families at night and the sun isn't out to be generating new power. The project will sell locally generated power to Kauai Island Utility Cooperative for a fixed price over a 25-year initial term, adding another level of energy security to our islands, which we're all seeing in real time can change very quickly with international landscape, and getting Kauai one step closer to meeting the state's mandate of 2045 100% renewable grids. The project will erect a new KIUC switchyard at Kaawanui, which will not only serve as the project's point of interconnection into the island-wide grid, but will also harden the grid infrastructure in West Kauai. Lastly, the project's operational period will end 25 years from now, according to the current PPA in place. AES Hawaii will fully decommission the project, removing all equipment from the land and restoring it to this condition you see today. Orienting you to the project site, the project is sited in West Kauai between Hanapepe and Waimea towns on land owned by the Robinson family partners and managed by Gay and Robinson. The project is just mauka of Kaumuali'i Highway between Pakala villages and Kaawanui villages. The area we are requesting to permit for the project is approximately 269 acres. Of that, project infrastructure will be located on about 230 acres. The new KIUC switchyard will comprise of 2 acres, and the remainder of the permit area will be existing access roads that the project will also use. It's AES's goal to disturb the least amount of land possible. So as we continue through design and engineering, that will be our focus moving forward. This is a summary slide of major project benefits the island of Kauai and the state of Hawaii will gain from the proposed project coming online. Among the most impactful are the fact that the project will supply a fifth of the island's need based on current load. That will result in powering about 16,000 homes annually for the course of the 25-year power purchase agreement. This project will also produce local jobs throughout construction, as well as local jobs throughout the 25-year operational period. Based on an economic impact analysis completed by the project, it is anticipated the project will produce over 1,000 new jobs, either indirect, direct, or induced, and over $216 million infused into the local economy. Lastly, goes without saying, clean energy just makes our environment cleaner, protects it for future generations. So the project will offset the burning of fossil fuels, something to the tune of 179 million gallons of fuel over the 25-year operational period. These are just a few pictures of what you would see on site once the project is built. Nothing I don't think anyone has seen before. Solar panels set on racking that rotates to meet the sun, as well as battery containers that look somewhat like Matson shipping containers with batteries loaded in on a modular system. And of course, no project is complete without inverters to convert energy from DC to AC and back. I want to spend a little bit of time focusing on wildfire management and how the project is building in safeguards to mitigate any fire risk. Safety is AES's highest priority. AES recognizes that fire mitigation has become increasingly top of mind for communities. So here are some pictures just to kind of explain what we've done in terms of building the safest projects possible. The batteries, as I mentioned, sit in a modular layout and in containers that are designed for no human access. You can see we install standard audio and visual fire alarm systems that you would see in occupied buildings or homes. Each container is also equipped with HVAC units so that as batteries generate heat during high times of use or high external temperatures, we can cool them down to manageable temperatures. I want to orient you to the picture in the top left. The top left picture illustrates the fire suppression system that we build into every single battery unit. Should a particular battery unit reach an elevated temperature, the fire suppression system would trigger the release of a non-toxic gas or an agent that would basically neutralize the heated battery at the lowest possible level. So before a row of batteries has to become compromised, or worse yet, a container, we're able to bring that one stressed battery down to basically a non-issue. In addition to the audio and visual and the fire suppression systems within the batteries, we also design the projects with fire mitigation in mind. Not only to neutralize a fire originating on site, but a fire passing through the site on West Kauai. We design all of our projects with safety features like clearance zones, non-vegetated fire breaks, maintained fire breaks, multiple ingress and egress points for emergency access, as well as very strict vegetation management plans during operations. We have a wonderful local operations and maintenance team, actually lives on Kauai. We've got a team pretty much on every island that we operate projects right now, which I think is very unique to AES. That team reports to sites daily, checking to make sure that all of the equipment is operating as it should. We also have a 24/7 monitoring system that we very coolly call the Rock, and it allows us eyes on the sites 24/7. Our local teams also have remote capabilities, so if there was an emergency that's happening at night and we did need to bring anything down, we could work that out. I know this topic is top of mind for a lot of people. I'm happy to elaborate on any questions later on, but I will kind of continue on with the presentation. AES heavily diligences projects, continuously collects community feedback in order to design and cite the best possible project. This slide just gives you an idea of the significant amount of investment that AES has made already in terms of understanding site conditions and characteristics and being able to inform design based on feedback from these studies. In addition to the studies AES commissioned, over the last year, we've also very actively engaged with the community in West Kauai, answering questions, understanding concerns. And so this slide kind of memorializes all that work. It kind of gives you an idea of who we've spoken to. And then the top right bullets give you kind of the biggest takeaways that we've heard from the community. And so the presentation now will kind of go into how we've taken that community feedback and really integrated it into the development of the project. Traffic. Traffic is hugely important to residents. We understand every island has its own nuances around traffic. It's our goal as AES, our contractors' goal, subcontractors' goal, that we do not make it worse for anyone. To best understand current traffic patterns, we commission a traffic impact analysis report, which can basically give us an idea of what traffic is like now. And then we can work to implement strategies so that we don't exacerbate traffic throughout construction or operations. The TIAR basically concluded that during operations, we will not be affecting traffic at all. 5 to 10 people reporting to site on any given day to do operations and maintenance work. So that, obviously is not a huge deal. The TIAR did conclude that during construction, we would be able to keep traffic patterns at their existing conditions so long as we implement some best management practices that you see on the screen. Multiple ingress, egress points, deliveries during non-peak times, things like that. And we will memorialize all of our plans in a construction traffic management plan prior to the start of construction. AES understands the importance of cultural and archaeological resources play in honoring Hawaii's past. We look to site our projects on land to avoid disturbance of these resources whenever possible. AES has completed a cultural impact analysis with a Kampa'akai analysis to understand culturally significant practices in the project site and around the project site. The site design and use of existing access routes preserve the cultural activities mentioned throughout our CIA consultation. We are not interfering with access to Pakala Beach, which was mentioned, multiple times throughout consultation. No trails or hikes are impeded access for. And additionally, we are looking to perpetuate ag activity on this land, which is a huge part of the West Kauai culture. We also conducted an AIS, or an archaeological inventory survey, which has been submitted to the State Historic Preservation Division. The State Historic Preservation's determination was that our plans indicate that no historic properties are affected by the project. Decommissioning, another hot topic with community members and policymakers alike. The commission and community members can rest assured that AES will fully decommission the site, and we'll get into decommissioning a little bit later in the presentation. Strategic earthwork not only keeps the site safe, but also protects the important people and places around the site. AES and our civil team have spent a ton of time understanding current characteristics of the site, water flow patterns, flood points, permeability, whatever it may be, so that we can design our project to be a passive neighbor on West Kauai. The project site will require very minimal grading. Under the solar panels, we're really just looking to smooth some areas based on the limits of the racking system, but that land will largely remain untouched. The only potential areas of high grading would be where we are going to lay concrete pads for major equipment. So the substations, the battery containers, the inverters, things like that. And then of course, we'll have to have internal access roads to access all of our equipment. So all of our research, all of our consultation has really resulted in this project design. There are currently 6 islanded arrays that you see are transected by existing access roads that will be used by AES, but not solely used by AES. The central array, which is the largest array in the very middle of your screen, is 63 acres. You can tell it's the largest of the 6, and it looks a little bit different because we've made the decision to space the rows a little wider than the other arrays. We made this decision in partnership with our ag partner to allow for the most possible ag uses as they get into their production. So we can get into seeded crops and things like that, mechanical harvesting, things like that. So I'll get into ag a little bit later, but just giving you kind of an understanding of what is different about the solar arrays. And then the last thing I'll say about this slide is the major project equipment is going to be located in the bottom of your screen. The Kaawanui substation is on the Hanapepe side of Kaawanui Road. And the new AES Hawaii substation exclusively for the project, as well as the battery yard, is located on the Waimea side of Kaawanui Road. Visual impacts. Probably the loudest comment we've heard from communities. So I want to share some renderings that we've done and we've shared with the communities, and then just explain a few ways that we've implemented strategies to mitigate visual impacts for the community. Okay, I'm going to breeze through 4. We can always come back to them, but I know there's a lot to cover still. This first viewpoint to orient you is taken from the highway, Kaamuali'i Highway, as you're approaching the project from Hanapepe. This vantage point, you can see the major equipment, including the KIUC substation, highlighted in yellow, is not visible from a driver's perspective. What is visible though are the panels as they slope up the mountain, since the topography does kind of slope up ever so slightly. So you will be able to see panels. Let me see if I can. Where's the pointer? Okay. So the panels are kind of up this way. The second vantage point is kind of right on the border of the project's area. You can see straight ahead, right here, is the KIUC switchyard. And what AES is trying to do in order to minimize visual impacts is we're putting in strategically placed landscape screens so that we can mitigate visual impacts for drivers passing by as much as possible. Of course, we're weighing, high voltage equipment and fire risk and visual impacts. So it's not going to completely cover a 50-foot tall structure, but we are mindful of the impact and doing our best to kind of thread the needle there. This third vantage point is taken at Makaveli Post Office. We're looking straight at the major equipment. So on this side, you will see kind of the top of the KIUC switchyard. And on this side, you see the top of the AES substation and the batteries. You can see here, we're also using landscape screening to make sure that driver impacts are not felt and visual impacts are mitigated for anyone at the beach nearby or driving by in their car. Last viewpoint is on the opposite end of the project, on the Waimea side, kind of looking at the solar panels. Again, landscape screening is something that we're looking to utilize here to minimize visual impacts. We've also decided to switch the racking to the lowest profile racking available so that it sits as close to the ground as possible. It's not, projected up there for like 15, 20 feet off the ground. This is much closer. And then we've also moved the panels away from the street about 100 feet. And as project design allows, we'll continue to increase that buffer. It is no surprise, Brad mentioned it in his testimony, that time is of the essence for solar projects. If you've seen anything in the news about tariffs and sunset dates on federal tax credits, we are working against a huge timeline. So everything is moving at warp speed, and AES is doing their best to overlap activities so that we can make up some time on the back end. So early procurement, strategic procurement, outlay of funds for studies and permitting early so that we can stay ahead of everything. Curtis will talk about, the permitting and entitlements and that a little bit later, but the last topic I want to get into for my presentation is compatible agriculture. Of course, it's a HRS 205 requirement, but it really is AES's goal to go above and beyond what is required from the statute and really partner with a local ag provider to make this a really productive project for ag. Nobody knows ag on the west side of Kauai like the Robinson family. And that has made them a really great landowner partner, but it's also made them a really interesting agricultural partner. And their expertise in both ag and renewable energy on the islands of Kauai and Ni'ihau have been what has made their partnership here so valuable. A group of family members from the partnership have come forward and wanting to partner with AES on the ag operation. Not only do they have the experience, but they've got the on-site slaughter facilities. They've got, channels to market directly to consumers as well as to local businesses. So really, it's kind of wrapped up in an all-inclusive plan. I think their plan is very strategic. It's a 3-phase plan, and they're going to start with sheep. So day 1 of operations, we're going to do sheep grazing. There'll be an initial investment of 100 sheep. They will graze throughout the solar site, and then on-site slaughter facilities and marketing channels will allow them to get the meat through to consumers. As the herd grows, as sales from sheep grow, they will be able to then get into poultry, which I think is extremely interesting. There are things like mobile chicken coops. Obviously, egg and chicken meat are a little bit more profitable than sheep. So that would be a secondary business line that they would look into maybe 5 years into operations of the project. Capital investment for the chicken product line's a little bit higher, so they would need some success before they get there, but they're definitely looking into multiple livestock channels. And then the last and I think most interesting part of this ag plan is the possibility of doing seeded crops. As I mentioned before, we've expanded the largest, flattest area of the project site to have the longest break between solar panels so that they are able to plant crops, mechanically harvest, kind of get to the production levels that make it possible to make operation profitable. We would be looking at things like asparagus, leafy greens, dryland collo, all of which our partnership at ARC has shown research backs success of these seeded crops in microclimates under solar panels. Okay, I know I've been talking a lot. I just want to wrap up. I hope that with the commission's support that we can continue on today in development of this project, furthering Kauai's energy goals and getting to the state energy mandate by 2045. AES prides itself on responsible development. I hope that has been evident today. I am born and raised in Hawaii. I care what the future of Hawaii looks like, and I stand by the work that AES does here in Hawaii. I've got a wonderful suite of experts with me who have helped me develop the project to this point. I'm happy to take questions now, and then if we are wanting to dive further into any of their specialty groups, we can get them up here as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kane. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Ms. Kane? Mr. Tabata, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, Chair. Thank you, Megan. We're ready to move on to our next witness.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. Our next witness is Howard Green, Senior Vice President of Gay and Robinson, Inc.
Is that on?
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Aloha, my name is Howard Green.
Okay, Mr. Green, I'm going to swear you in. All right. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. Okay. Aloha, Commissioners. My name again is Howard Green. I'm the Vice President of Gay and Robinson Incorporated. I'm here today to tell you why this project is so important to Gay and Robinson and to ask for your support of this important project for the entire West Side and the island as a whole. Gay and Robinson's primary business pillar remains in agriculture. We operate Makaweli Ranch. There are over 1,000 head of cattle on 5,000 acres of pasture. We have over 5,000 acres of former sugarcane lands that have highly developed infrastructure available for diversified agriculture. Much of this is designated as important ag lands. Much of these lands, about 20,000 acres of these GNR lands were designated IAL lands in 2016. You're all well aware that any agricultural business is difficult. The challenges since the closure of sugar have been enormous. Despite best efforts, the deck is stacked against us. This is especially true for large landowners. Most of the large tracts of ag land on Kauai have been subdivided, developed, carved up, and are non-functional. There are a lot of well-intentioned people and programs across the islands and the state that attempt to support ag. However, it is not enough. To support viable ag, we need alternative sources of income. Gay and Robinson has recent challenges in meeting these diversification goals. There are no known breaks for us when we have drought, crop loss, equipment failures, loss of market share, or we lose tenants. Renewable energy production, like this AES project, would go a long way in supporting our agricultural endeavors. Our housing program is another pillar of our company income. We provide 350 homes for ag and workforce. It only makes a nominal profit. Most important, though, it plays a synergy with our ag operations and has a significant impact to our overall agricultural opportunities. So having a steady income from a fraction of our ag lands is very important. This proposed 269 acres is less than 0.5% of the 50,000 acres we manage. The income would go a long way to providing us stability and cash flow to further invest and continue in agriculture and housing. We are excited to see that this project has a compatible agricultural component. This will further solidify our commitment to supporting the agricultural resource infrastructure. This includes the reservoirs and dams we manage, ditches, piping, filtration, roads, power, and other farm logistics. The proposed AES project is on LSB Class B and E lands. It is not our premium LSB Class A lands. We have a long-term outlook and consider this a temporary use of the land, preserving future ag uses at this site. It will also help us with land management, including fire and invasive species. You may be aware of the Kaawanui fire we had in July 2024 that threatened a lot of our homes. This will be 269 less acres that we'll have to manage. It'll provide a managed buffer near our housing villages of Kaawanui and Pakala. Lastly, we're excited to be a participating partner for KIUC's renewable energy commitment. The new substation will solidify electric transmission reliability for the west side and the entire island. I'd also like to add, we used to farm this land in sugar, and we would get about 32 tons of bagasse per acre. That's the fiber that we use to generate steam in the mill and produce electricity. So on this 269 acres, rough calculation, we would get about 4 million kilowatt hours of electricity that we would provide to the grid back in the sugar days. I just want to note that this project is 30 to 40 times more efficient with the property at making electricity than sugar was. So we just view this as another method of, utilizing the land for the benefit of the community. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Appreciate your testimony. Commissioners, are there any questions for the testifier? Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not see you. Commissioner Miyasato.
Sorry, Chair. Yeah, my iPad is working a little bit slow today. But I did have a question earlier for Ms. Kani. It was, I believe, during the second slide, when you were describing the area location of the project. I believe you used the word purchase. I just wanted to confirm if it's a purchase or a lease.
Did you hear that?
It's a lease.
Okay, thank you.
It's a lease, yeah. It's a lease of the land.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Any other questions for the testifier? Mr. Tabata, is that your final witness?
Yes, Chair, that's Howard is our last witness. If I may, Chair, I will then present the legal overview of the special permit.
Okay, before you do, there's a couple of questions that were brought up by the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development on page 6, page 5 and page 6, and questions number 2 and 3. I'm going to follow up on that. Okay. On page 5, item number 2, OPSD asked that the applicant clarify whether AES Hawaii substation is required to be covered by the special permit or is already a permitted use in the agricultural district. Do you have an answer?
Yes, Chair, thank you. So for OPSD's comments, their comment number 2 gets into our 2 substations. Okay, so we have as in connection to the project, we have 2 substations planned to be built. Okay, one is the KIUC substation, and the other is the AES substation. Okay, now the KIUC substation is designed to exist and go on after our project is finished. Okay, it's intended to not only facilitate our project's connection to the grid, but also the grid itself. Okay, so it will not be decommissioned. and it does belong to KIUC. Okay, so because of that, it is not considered a part of our project, in our project description, okay? So there's a distinction there between the two substations. Now, it is a permissible use in the agricultural district as a substation, okay? For the AES substation, it is also a permissible use. But for the sake of describing our project, we did not make a illegal distinction between permissible use and non-permissible use, and we, out of convenience, included the AES substation with our project description. So to answer the question, our AES substation is a permissible use under the agricultural district. And that is the reason why they are treated separately in the project description of our project.
Okay, thank you. And on page 6 of the OPSD report, number 3, it asks about the non-exclusive easement for access and utility purposes over Road A section. And the question is what is the status of the sale of that?
Okay, thank you. So OPSD question, comment number 3 gets into this old government road remnant. Okay, that Robinson Family Partners, the landowner, is going to purchase from the state of Hawaii Department of Transportation. Okay, that process has been ongoing and is continuing, and it is currently in the mapping stage. The state surveyor is mapping it, and that mapping will facilitate the subdivision of that remnant from other parts of the state parcel, and it'll then be consolidated into the Robinson lands. Okay, and after that's done, then the sale and conveyance of the lands to Robinson can take place.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tabata. You may proceed with your summary.
Thank you. There is a fourth comment that OPSD had a question about, and it was about, I believe, a change to the condition regarding extensions, possible future extensions for the permit term. We're okay with that potential change, but I think the Land Use Commission staff's comment about changing that condition sort of supersedes that request, I think. So the staff suggested or requested that the condition be changed so that the LUC would also need to consent or approve a future request to extend the permit term, and we're okay with that also. So, and I believe the staff also had 2 more suggested changes to the conditions. I believe there's 2 conditions, 2, 8, and 11 were raised, and we're okay with all of those changes. Okay, so, and I believe they're shown in red in the staff report.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Chair. May I proceed with the legal overview?
Yes, please.
Thank you. The Kaawanui Solar Project requires a special permit from the Commission because it consists of more than 20 acres of agricultural land. And because the land is comprised of B and C rated lands, agricultural lands, the solar project must meet 3 requirements under HRS section 205-4.5. Number 1, it must make the project site lands available to compatible agricultural activities at a rent that is at least 50% below fair market value. Number 2, you have to provide the county with proof of financial ability to decommission the project prior to commencing operations. And three, we need to decommission the project within 12 months of the conclusion of the project's useful life and restore the land to its prior condition. And the petitioner has committed itself to complying with all three requirements. Now, the Land Use Commission's authority to issue special permits is under HRS Section 205-6. And 205-6 allows the issuance of special permits for uses that qualify as, quote, unusual and reasonable, end quote. And in this case, in the agricultural district, what's unusual and reasonable is that which is not one of the listed express permissible uses. Now, to determine what is unusual and reasonable, we look to section 15-15-95C of the commission's rules. And under that rule, it provides for 5 guidelines to help the commission determine whether or not a use is unusual or reasonable. So the first guideline states, quote, the use shall not be contrary to the objectives sought to be accomplished by chapters 205 and 205A HRS and the rules of the commission. Now, chapter 205 itself does not provide a list of objectives or purposes, but the Intermediate Court of Appeals in Kauai Springs v. Planning Commission at 130 Hawaii 407 stated that, quote, the Hawaii Supreme Court has ruled that the overarching purpose of HRS Chapter 205 is to protect and conserve natural resources and foster intelligent, effective, and orderly land allocation and development. Under Article 11, Section 1 of our state constitution, natural resources are defined to include land, water, air, minerals, and energy sources. The Kaawanui Solar Project does foster intelligent, effective, and orderly land allocation and development, and is not contrary to the objectives of protecting and conserving land, air, and energy sources for the following reasons. Number 1, our project will protect and conserve agricultural lands by implementing an agricultural plan where the available land in our 269-acre project site will be made available rent-free for compatible agricultural activities. Megan has already discussed our compatible agricultural plan and explained why we are consistent with preserving agricultural resources. Also, our project will be a de facto agricultural preserve. If the commission approves our solar project, the 269-acre project site will be effectively locked in the agricultural district for approximately 39 years of use, which will include compatible agricultural activities, after which the land will be restored to its original condition. By remaining in the agricultural district for 39 years, the project site will be a 269-acre ongoing agricultural operation and, in my opinion, a strategic agricultural reserve for the future. The project will also protect our air and climate by reducing greenhouse gases by avoiding 2.35 million metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents over the project's life cycle. And finally, our project will harness our solar energy sources. The hot and sunny lands on the west side of Kauai are high in solar irradiance and valuable for both agriculture and solar energy generation. The Kaawanui Solar Project will promote the goal of sustainable energy on the island of Kauai, protect agricultural lands and the air, and therefore our project is consistent with the objectives of HRS Chapter 205 and the Commission's rules. HRS Chapter 205A is our coastal zone management law, and it does provide a list of objectives for Chapter 205A. The solar project is not located within the coastal zone, so our project will not negatively impact the listed resources within the coastal zone management area, which include recreational resources, historic resources, scenic and open resources, coastal ecosystems, economic uses, coastal hazards, coastal development, and public participation, and beach and coastal dune protection. Our project, therefore, is not contrary to the objectives of Chapter 205A. The second guideline in determining unusual and reasonable uses is that, quote, the proposed use would not adversely affect surrounding property, end quote. The property surrounding our 269-acre project site is used for grazing, and most of the land is owned by the Robinson family. The nearest residential property is about 100 yards away, and we do not expect the project to have any adverse impacts on surrounding properties. The third guideline in determining unusual and reasonable uses is that, quote, the proposed use would not unreasonably burden public agencies to provide roads and streets, sewers, water drainage, school improvements, and police and fire protection. As Megan has testified, our project will have no significant impacts to traffic, and petitioner will provide all necessary road improvements for the project. Also, the project will not require any sewer wastewater service. For stormwater drainage, the petitioner will construct all needed drainage improvements, including ditches for capturing conveyance and 8 detention ponds for water quality and quantity management. The project has no residential component and will therefore not increase the population in the area, so there will be no impact on schools. For police protection, the project will have security personnel during construction as needed, and a surveillance system and fencing will be installed. The project, therefore, is not expected to increase the need for police protection. For fire protection, Megan has already covered the multiple layers of fire prevention and suppression. And finally, regarding public services, the project, my understanding is the project will harden the grid and make it more resilient. And I believe it has to do, what it will do is help protect against fluctuations and disruptions to the grid. The fourth guideline for determining unusual and reasonable uses is that, quote, unusual conditions, trends, and needs have arisen since the district boundaries and rules were established. This fourth guideline is a recognition that the world is constantly changing and that the special permit process in Chapter 205 is a mechanism for making adjustments so that the commission and landowners can react to changing circumstances without being locked into a static list of permissible uses. The Land Use Commission and the district boundaries were enacted in the 1960s. Since then, conditions and trends have arisen to include the rise of greenhouse gases impacting our climate, the advent of utility-scale photovoltaic solar energy facilities, and unfortunately, our precarious reliance on fossil fuels. The Commission has been recognizing these trends for the past decade as it has approved several large solar projects since 2016. We therefore believe that our conditions and trends that have arisen since the establishment of the district boundaries and that our solar project is positioned to address those conditions and trends. The fifth and final guideline is quote, "The land upon which the proposed use is sought is unsuited for the uses permitted within the district," end quote. I'm going to approach this from the negative reading of this. In the Oxford Dictionary, the word suited as an adjective is defined as right or appropriate. And we believe our project is right and appropriate for the project site. Now, given the current opportunity before us, we believe that the Kaawanui Solar Project is right and appropriate for the project site for the following 5 reasons. First, the project will have environmental benefits by avoiding greenhouse gas emissions. The project's avoidance of greenhouse gas emissions include the extraction, production, transportation, refining, and operational use of the fossil fuels that would be consumed if the project were not approved and built, but would be avoided if the project is approved and built. The avoided life cycle emissions are estimated to be 2,350,053 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents versus the project life cycle emissions are estimated to be 92,361 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents. Subtracting them out, the net project avoided life cycle emissions are estimated to be 2,257,692 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents. The second reason why the project is right and appropriate for the project site is the economic benefits of the project. There are 5 aspects of the project that will produce economic and fiscal benefits, and they include 1, the pre-development period that is currently underway and is anticipated to take 2.5 years. 2, the construction period that is estimated to be 18 months. 3, the 25-year operation period. 4, annual easement payments that the petitioner will make to the landowner. And 5, decommissioning that is estimated to take 1 year. By combining all 5 aspects and accumulating all direct, indirect, and induced impacts, the estimated economic impacts of the project include 1,064 total jobs, $77,899,714 in total labor income, and $216,718,437 in total economic output. And the projected fiscal impacts include $9,713,491 in state of Hawaii revenue and $3,787,891 in county of Kauai revenue. The third reason why the project is right and appropriate is that the project will conserve our natural resources as previously discussed. The fourth reason why the solar project is right and appropriate for the project site is that it is geopolitically timely, given the current volatility of the price of oil. And the project would allow Kauai to avoid approximately 7,150,000 gallons of oil annually. But that is not a coincidence. The state of Hawaii created the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative of 2008 and 2015 and mandated that 100% of the state's energy portfolio must come from renewable sources by 2045. Kauai is ahead of schedule, as Brad mentioned, and is on track to meet this 100% goal by 2033. In 2024, renewable resources accounted for over 50.6% of KIUC's energy generation, and the project is expected to provide approximately 17.5% of KIUC's total electric generation. And finally, The fifth and maybe best evidence that the project is right and appropriate for the project site is the fact that the landowner, the Robinson family, has authorized the solar project on their land in light of their available options. Based on the above, we believe that the Kaawanui solar project is consistent with the 5 guidelines for unusual and reasonable uses under HRS Section 2056 and HAR Section 15-15-95C and satisfies all of the requirements for a special permit under HRS Chapter 205 and the Commission's rules. Thank you, Chair. That's all we have for now.
Thank you, Mr. Tabata. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Let's make it a 15-minute break, and we'll be back here at 11:30. Thank you. All right, we're at 11:32. Okay, let's get started. Are we ready, Ms. Kwan?
Ready when you are, Chair.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Tabata, have you finished with your presentation and summary?
Yes, Chair, we're done. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, are there any questions for Mr. Tabata or AES? Vice Chair Carr Smith.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wanted the record to benefit from a conversation I had during the break. I had asked about seed crops and whether that had been done on this island. I know it's kind of a newer concept, and so it was explained to me that perhaps it hadn't, not necessarily aware of it, but obviously that brings up the subject of water too, and it was shared that the Robinsons are providing the water for that. Is that county water, or do you guys have like ag water here, or?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've secured.
Please state your name again. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. Megan Kane for the record. What we've done is we've secured a portion of the Gan Robinson water allotment to be specifically allocated to use by AES and our ag partner. So I think where other projects are limited in ag use and seeded crops are not really an option is when you have to truck in water for the purpose of ag. And so for this project, because we do have the annual water allotment with the help of Gan Robinson, it allows our ag partner a lot more flexibility at, not astronomical cost.
That's great. The other thing I was wondering about was the 39 years versus 25 years. So if I understand it correctly, so the 25 years is how long the solar project's life expectancy is, I assume, and the 39 is the life of the ag part of it. Is that correct?
Let me clarify just one point. So you're correct in that the 25 years is like the initial term of our agreement with KIUC. So our power purchase agreement, that is kind of the governing document over our ability to do the project and sell power, is for an initial term of 25 years. Thereafter, there's an option period of 10 years to extend the project. So any project's useful life is typically 35 years. We get to the 39 when we add in a year for decommissioning or, 3 years for development between now and 2029 when the project has to be up. So that's how you compute the 39.
Okay. And the term of the special permit, what is the term?
The term in condition 8 in the proposed DNO is 35 years from commercial operations. So it includes that useful life term that I just referenced, the 25 plus the 10.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll now ask the County of Kauai to please present your comments and please state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, members of the Land Use Commission and members of the public. My name is Jody Higuchi Saigusa. I am the Deputy Director of the Planning Department. The record demonstrates that the Planning Commission conducted a thorough review process, including public hearings, consideration of testimony, both from the applicant as well as the public, as well as agency comments and an evaluation of applicable standards governing the special permits within the agricultural district. The Planning Commission recommended decision and conditions upholds the state's agricultural priorities while allowing the project to contribute immensely towards achieving the state's clean energy and energy resilience goals. I did want to note the comments that were submitted by the State Historic Preservation Division that was already included as an Exhibit 29. It was the same comments that were transmitted also to the Planning Commission prior to its decision. That's the comments dated March 9th, 2026. And so basically, we respectfully request that the commission accept the Planning Commission's recommendation and approve a special permit at 26416.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Higuchi Saigusa. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the County of Kauai? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. State Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, please identify yourself and then present your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Leo Sanchin, Planning Program Administrator for the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. As noted in our memo to the Land Use Commission dated May 11, 2026, we also did the analysis based on HAR Section 1515-95C. And we do find that the proposed project is an unusual and reasonable use permitted in the State Agricultural District. And we do recommend that the LUC adopt the Kauai Planning Commission's recommendation to approve the application for SP 26-416. You already covered some of the comments that we had in our memo, specifically numbers 2 and 3. And then Mr. Tabata also took care of our comment number 4. We are okay with those items, just to find a way to pretty much update the record and bring the record up to date. As far as our other two comments, the first one being updating that at the time in the proposed DNO that came from the Kauai Planning Commission, it stated that they were still awaiting the power purchase agreement to be approved by the Public Utilities Commission. That was actually done on March 2nd, before the March 10th kind. So just to update the record there, and also to reflect the current name of the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development from Office of Planning, if that's for consideration of the commissioners. As far as the Exhibit 29 that was just mentioned, and that was filed also today, right? A repeat filing. Just to clarify that SHPT's comments, right, around the AIS, that their consultants, AIS's consultants, archaeological consultants, do work with SHPD to bring that up to date. There are a couple of items that they wanted CSH, which is the consultant to AES on the AIS, sorry, all the acronyms. We used to have them at the PUC too. But just to work with them, and they had hoped that, right, they can do that within 3 months from the date of their letter. And so my understanding is their consultant is working with AIS, with SHPD on the AIS to make those amendments. So it's not so much a condition that we want it's more allowing their consultant to work with SHPD to make sure the AIS is kind, because to our reading of their letter is it doesn't impact they're okay to move forward with the project of the cultural impact assessment, and then just subject to making the necessary changes on the AIS. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Asuncion. Members, are there any questions for the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. Okay, now petitioner, do you have any final comments you would like to make at this time?
Thank you, Chair. Petitioner has nothing more to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tabata. County of Kauai, do you have any closing arguments you would like to make?
We do not, Chair. Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
Deputy County Attorney Laura Barzilai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
OPSD, do you have any closing arguments you would now like to make?
Mr. Chairman, Leo Asuncion, we do not.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Miyasato, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair.
That's why you got to be here so we can more easily recognize you next time.
Yeah, I know. Circumstances when you have young ones, yeah. Let's see. For the petitioner, just a couple of things. First of all, I think the council did a really good job in addressing concerns, fire, the possible road restoration improvements, and the restoration of the site. There was a lot of their concerns, and they did a few changes in the verbiage and replace some of the verbiage with shall, and made it a little more firm, I guess you could say. But in regards to that, in condition 8, it has I guess you could say like a 2-step timeline. So my thing is the 35 years starts when operation, I guess, commences. So could we get a notice when operation commences and that 35-year triggers? Or we wouldn't know the actual term of the special permit. So that would be to the petitioner.
Mr. Tabata or Ms. Kani, can you let us know when you guys start?
I believe the question, this is Megan Connie for the record. I believe the question, Commissioner, was, can the petitioner provide the LUC with notice once the commercial operation term has started, so that you know when to start the clock on the 35-year permit term? And yes, that would be no problem.
Okay, thank you. I guess the other thing that I have is for the Kapaakai analysis. I had seen in your exhibits referencing, I believe it was Exhibit X and C29. I couldn't find those. I couldn't review the actual analysis. So I guess my question is, could you agree that your Kapaakai analysis fulfilled the 343 requirements?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. I think the question was that whether or not our Kapaakai analysis can satisfy Chapter 343.
Yes.
Well, if we had to do a EA or EIS, I believe it could serve that function. If we were going down that road. Yes.
Well, I had noticed some documentation of finding of sites, some old remnants. I'm not sure who did the report, if it was G70.
If there's specific questions about the Kapaa analysis or our AIS or the cultural impact assessment, I mean, we have our consultant here that may be able to answer your questions. Would that be preferable?
I don't have a specific question because I couldn't find the report, the actual report. I just want to know if your consultant can confirm that their analysis has fulfilled the 342 obligation for the Kapaa analysis of their findings.
I believe they could. Again, we're not required to do a environmental assessment under Chapter 343. So it's not really the applicable framework, so to speak. We do have an independent duty under the state constitution to review and conduct a Kapaa analysis, which I believe that does satisfy our constitutional duty to perform. But as far as answering the specific question whether or not we have satisfied that duty, it may be best to have our cultural consultant come forward and answer your question.
Mr. Tabata, before you continue, I'm going to ask the executive officer to clarify the difference between Kapaa analysis and 343.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe that Mr. Tabata has explained it. Chapter 343 is a statutory obligation with regard to environmental review. The Kapaa analysis is a constitutional requirement that was defined by the Supreme Court, and the two aren't necessarily the same thing. They overlap, but Chapter 343 is a completely different set of requirements than a Kapaa analysis. I would also note that while the petitioner provides us information that will allow us to do a Kapaa analysis, it is the commission's obligation to actually do the analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Tabata, do you have anything to add?
Chair, the acoustics in this room is pretty difficult to capture everybody if they don't speak kind of loudly and clearly. So I'm not exactly sure what the applicability of Chapter 343 is to our application right now. There may be a different process for Chapter 343 analysis versus one where it's not required. But I'm not sure what that difference is. I mean, I don't. But our consultant may be able to explain or answer questions about their responsibility to conduct a Kapaa analysis. So if the commission would want that to happen, then I believe our consultant is present to answer questions.
Mr. Tabata, will you please bring him to the table and let him answer?
Thank you, Chair. We call our cultural consultant.
Okay, sir, will you please state your name for the record?
Aloha kako, David Scheidler, Cultural Surveys Hawaii, lead archaeologist for Cultural Surveys Hawaii, addressing questions pertaining to the Kapa'akai analysis that was done.
Okay, Mr. Scheidler, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please proceed.
Apologies, but at this side of the room, the acoustics have been very problematic this morning, and I'm not sure that I've followed all of the discourse thus far. Could I request a restatement of the question?
Sure. I'm going to ask Commissioner Miyasato to please address Mr. Scheidler with your question.
Good morning, Mr. Scheidler. I was trying to find your report in the exhibits, and maybe I overlooked it and I couldn't find it. I just wanted to review it. But since I couldn't find it, I just wanted you to acknowledge that your Kapa'akai analysis was done and was thorough, because I couldn't find it. That's all. Just a
Sure.
confirmation.
My apologies that you couldn't find it. If I understand, a question is regarding the context that the Kapa'akai analysis that was completed and that was, of course, reviewed by the County of Kauai Planning Commission was designed to address the letter and the spirit of Kapa'akai o Ka'aina versus the Land Use Commission, parenthetically 94 Hawaii 31. It also was designed to address the mandates set forth in the Hawaii State Constitution, Articles 9 and 12, and was designed to follow the Kapa'akai guidelines promulgated by the County of Kauai Department of Planning. I'm happy to address any specific questions pertaining to the Kapa'akai analysis.
No, thank you. I just wanted a confirmation because I couldn't physically find the document. So thank you.
Certainly, and I apologize that wasn't readily available to all of the members of the commission.
I probably overlooked it. So, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Scheidler? Okay, Mr. Tabata.
Thank you, Chair. If the question was, where is the Kapa'akai analysis? It's at Exhibit X. Exhibit 4 in the record, and attached to Exhibit 4 is Exhibit X, which is the Kapa'akai analysis. So Exhibit 4 is they're all the exhibits to the G70 report. So there's a whole bunch of them. And Exhibit X is the cultural impact assessment and Kapa'akai analysis for the project. That's where you can find it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tabata. Any further questions or final questions for the petitioner? Okay, if not, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Scheidler. All right, commissioners, are there any final questions or comments for the parties, any of them, before we enter deliberations? Okay, seeing none, we're now going to go into the second opportunity for public testimony. We're going to open this second round with any new or additional comments only. And for those participating via Zoom, please notify the chief clerk using the question and answer feature if you wish to testify. At this time, Ms. Kwan, are there any requests to testify?
Seeing none in the room, Chair, and none in the Q&A feature.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kwan. The commission will now conduct formal deliberations on the petitioner's application for a special permit. I will note for the parties and the public that during the commission's deliberations, we will not entertain additional input from the parties or the public unless those individuals or entities are specifically requested to do so by the chair. If called upon, I would ask that any comments be limited to the question at hand. So commissioners, let me now confirm that each of you has reviewed the record and is prepared to deliberate on this matter. After I call your name, will you please signify with either an aye or a nay that you are prepared to deliberate on this matter? Vice Chair Carr Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Hayashida,
Aye.
Commissioner Kahele,
Aye.
Commissioner Miyasato,
Aye.
Commissioner Uu,
Aye.
and I, the chair, Brian Lee, is also prepared to deliberate on this matter. Commissioners, the chair will now entertain a motion. The motion should state the reasons for acceptance or non-acceptance. The commission's motion would be, if they choose to approve, that the Kaawanui special permit application for solar development on approximately 269.195 acre portion of land located in Makaveli, Waimea, Kauai, Hawaii, identified by Kauai tax map key numbers 1-7-006, portion, known as parcel 6 and 010 portion. Parcel 10, subject to the 24 county conditions and the 3 additional condition amendments from the LUC staff, to adopt the condition language in the county's decision and order and authorize the chairperson to execute the order necessary to effectuate the commission's decision, subject to review and approval by the Department of the Attorney General. Would someone like to make that motion?
Commissioner Hayashida, I make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Hayashida has made the motion. Is there a second?
No, I second.
The motion has been seconded by Commissioner Kahele. Is there any discussion?
Chair,
Yes, Commissioner, Vice Chair Carr Smith.
does that include clarification that the substation will be a part of the special permit? And does that include the confirmation about the sale of that parcel to DOT?
I believe that the petitioner has stated, well, I'm going to let the petitioner answer.
Oh, does the motion include that?
I'm going to ask because it may or may not be necessary to the motion, so I'm going to ask the petitioner to clarify.
Thank you, Chair. I don't believe a decision in order would need to change anything with respect to the substation. It's they're mentioned separately. And it doesn't really have a legal consequence. The fact that they're treated in 2 different ways. One, apart from the project, outside of our project description, and the other one within. I think it can stay the same. With respect to the remnant, the road remnant, that there are already findings of fact in the Planning Commission's DNO that talks about the fact of the agreement between the landowner and the State Department of Transportation, and that it's ongoing. So I'm not, I don't think that there's a need to change that. There were, Chair, there were other proposed changes by the staff report, which we have agreed to. So perhaps that should be included in the motion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think our motion contained those conditions, but I'm going to ask the Madam Deputy Attorney General Steed to make any comment on our motion.
Motion should be fine.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Steed. Commissioner Vice Chair Carr Smith, are you okay?
It feels to be like those 3 things from the staff report were kind of glossed over. Can you please tell me exactly what they are?
I'm going to ask Executive Officer Ordenker to respond.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The three conditions suggested by staff were condition 2 of the county decision and order adds language that states that after consultation with the Department of Agricultural and Biosecurity with regard to extensions to this deadline and to the deadlines. Number 2 is applicant shall begin commercial operations of the project within 4 years of the date of the Land Use Commission's decision and order. This special permit will be valid for a period of 35 years from the date of commercial operations of the project, subject to further extension upon timely request for extension filed with the Planning Commission at least 120 days prior to the special permit's expiration. And we added the condition that approval of special permit time extensions shall be required from the Land Use Commission. Condition 11 of the county decision and order, the applicant shall notify the director of the County of Kauai Planning Department and the Land Use Commission of any change or transfer of the license on the petition area, any changes in the uses on the petition area, termination of any uses in the petition area, and or transfer of ownership of the petition area.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Commissioner Uu.
I just want a clarity on the adding LUC to the time extension review. Is that by having a meeting or is that by notice from Kauai County to LUC?
Good question. I believe it's a hearing, but Mr. Odenker?
Yes, Commissioner, it would be a hearing.
Now, I wanted to ask if Kauai was okay with that or the applicant.
Deputy County Attorney Laura Barzilai, no objection to that condition. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? I think there's somebody, Commissioner Miyasato.
Thank you, Chair. Now I just want to mention that I think this is a well thought out project, a good project for the community. I will be supporting the motion. Good presentation, well thought out, considered the community input. Yeah, so I will be supporting the motion, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Miyasato. I have a question for Kauai, the County of Kauai. Is construction-related activity for this project permissible without the special use permit in place, given the fact that the SP will not take effect until the commercial operation takes effect?
Deputy County Attorney Laura Barzilai, our planner is sharing that the answer is yes. Construction can commence.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any final questions or comments? I'm going to state that I think this is a great project. The County of Kauai has been doing an amazing job. KIUC has been doing an amazing job. It's sort of an alternative universe for those of us on the other islands to see what you guys can do. And we really admire everything that you've done. It's something that we aspire to. And thank you all from the community for coming out today for this hearing. All right, with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Odenker to conduct the roll call vote of the commission. I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner Uu.
Yeah, I just like to echo what was just said by the chair. I think you guys are ahead of the curve. I mean, the state set the bar to hit the benchmarks, and then you guys up the bar or lower the bar, whatever you guys want to look at it. So I commend you, and also an understanding of large landowners, and it's difficult to manage and need to be competitive ways to continue to manage large swaths of land, especially after the fires and the potential increase in insurance costs that affects every island and every landowner. So, and also with an understanding that the potential tax incentives might be cut or severed. All of that plays a part. So I do not want to be in a way any way we can help expedite this. I see this as a partnership between us and you guys. And like what the chair said, you guys are ahead. We envy you, even on Maui. They're from Oahu, totally different guys. They're looking for one dump, but they'll find it. But I just want to say kudos to you guys and kudos to what you guys are achieving on your island. I think you guys set the bar. Aloha.
Thank you, Commissioner Wu. Yes, great comments, and we hope you meet the deadline for the funding, Cliff. And so again, I'm going to ask if there's no other comments for Executive Officer Ordenker to conduct the roll call vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to approve the issuance of the special use permit in the form recommended in the staff report. Commissioner Hayashida.
Aye.
Commissioner Kahele.
Aye.
Commissioner Carr Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Uu.
Aye.
Commissioner Miyasato.
Aye.
Commissioners Kamakeo Hello and Yumane are absent. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to the public, the County of Kauai, OPSD, commissioners. Thank you very much. We appreciate all of your time and thank you to the parties. Thank you. We're going to take a break and then we'll come back for the rest of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, Ms. Steed. Okay, we're going to go back into our hearing. We're on agenda item number 3, adoption of the minutes. This next order of business is the approval of the April 8th, 2026 meeting minutes. Ms. Kwan, has any written testimony been received on those minutes?
No, Mr. Chair.
Are there any members of the public wishing to testify on this item?
Seeing none in the room, Chair, and none in the Q&A feature.
Thank you. So commissioners, are there any corrections or comments on the April 8th, 2026 minutes? Hearing none, is there now a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Uu. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kahele. Is there any discussion, objections, corrections? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Thank you very much. This agenda item number 5 is the tentative meeting schedule. Mr. Odenker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would caution the commissioners that some of these items are very tentative at the moment. But tomorrow we will once again be here for the Grove Farm motion to amend. Currently, we have scheduled June 3rd on Maui for the Punene Quarry matter. And on the 4th of June, we will also be on Maui for the Komar Maui Properties LLC declaratory ruling request. On the 24th of June, we will be on the Big Island for the Hono Ipu Hideaway remand. And on July 15th, we have tentatively scheduled the Ulamalanai Koele project, and that will be on Maui. And we have the 29th for that matter as well in case we need it. That's all we have so far, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Odenker. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much. For the next Land Use Commission meeting scheduled for June 3 and June 4th, which will be held in Maui. Well, due to the demanding schedule required to complete LUC business, I would like to request that meals be provided as a working lunch as an integral part of the meeting. Mr. Odenker, will the LUC staff please make the necessary arrangements for the working lunch?
We will do that, Mr. Chair, and we will make sure we have extra cookies.
Yes, very important. Thank you, Mr. Odenker. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Ms. Steed. This concludes our meeting. Is there any further business to discuss? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.